probably wasn't until about 10 years ago when we moved very close to the Willamette and we were in a high-rise building that my sense of risk increased. I didn't understand how high-rises would perform. I knew that the Willamette River would be my source of water, and I knew it was part of a Superfund site. And I also understood that the land around a river can turn very liquid in a large earthquake event. All good motivations to start doing something.
I grew up in California. I was born in California, and there were 3 really important years that I knew about before I moved to Oregon. And one, 1906, obviously. Another one, 1933, the Long Beach earthquake. My mother was in that, and she was dreadfully afraid of earthquakes. I mean, just any truck would go by and she'd freak out. You know, anything that reminded her of what happened when she was a girl. And then finally, in 1989, when we had the Loma Prieta quake, my son and I were just settling down to watch the World Series.
Well, I live in a community now. I live in a condominium, a pair of condominiums, and I want my community to be prepared. I do not want to be one of just a few people that are prepared. And having procrastinated for so many years myself, I understand how immobilized someone can feel when they understand what the risks really are. And I hope that we can give information at the fair so that people will be able to move ahead with preparing for their own families for a very extended period of time.
What did you learn tonight? I learned about the ham radios. I learned about the food that you need to get, the survival food, some that you can add water to and some that you can't. I learned all about all the pet things for people who have pets in my condo. I'm going to bring information back to them.
I really like the water filter, and that was a new thing to me, so I bought one of those. And because water is a very important issue when in earthquake or anytime when you're out and can't go back in your building, if there's no good water supply, it becomes crucial.
I think as long as we're keeping people informed, we're never informed enough, especially in Oregon. We're not a state that's used to big natural emergencies, and I'm more so informed because I have my granddaughter.
So I found some good resources that I want to share with my family because I think I may be a little more prepared than they are, and I'd like to make sure that my family is also prepared.
That we really should be prepared for this, and being prepared makes it more likely to survive something like this. I learned that assume that this might be like Japan earthquake of 2011 and the last earthquake in 1964. So I all think everyone in Portland should need to be prepared.
An extra water purification cabinet for extra water. It's got a bright stick. The bright stick, it's basically just a light stick, but electric beam.
Also kind of learn what kind of survival kit I need to get in my car and what kind of survival kit I should have at my home.
I learned about the 2-toilet, the 2-bucket program, which is really key. I wondered what we would do, so that was important. And then I learned about nets, and I'm thinking about signing up for that.
It's been approximately 300 years since the last big one, and we're expecting one every 300 to 350 years. So this is not a theoretical exercise. And we should have what sailors would call a ditch bag, which an emergency bag with water and some food and even a portable radio and some other things that we need to put together for our house.
Sort of helpful were the buckets for the bathroom, because that's the one thing I don't have in my emergency kits.
Learned a couple of things. I really like the 2-bucket system. I didn't know a thing about it.
Information about how to do personal sanitation, the kind of the basic stuff. I learned some things about communications, on how to be able to communicate, and it's actually going to be complicated. Learned some stuff about your personal emergency supply kit.
It's worthwhile because it reminds you of the things you should be doing and the need for doing them. And I think we tend to put that to the back burner because it's easier just not to think about it. I think that article in the New Yorker magazine shook up the whole country about earthquake threats.
So what did you learn this evening?
That we are not very prepared if there was an emergency.
Right. And?
We should probably get prepared sooner rather than later.
So are there any first steps that you think you may take now?
Probably food, water, all those essential things.
And pet supplies.
Pet supplies. We have a couple cats. And then, yeah, I think that's probably the gist.
So is it worthwhile to come?
Yeah, I think so. And then they mentioned too, like if obviously you'd have things stored in your wherever, your condo or whatnot, but if you had to carry these things with you, having some way to evacuate with supplies as well.
I learned about the safer and not so safe zones of Portland. The closer you are to the river, the soil does something different than if you were further away from the river. I learned that, and then I learned about some animal safety precautions. She actually was the first one to go to those tables.
Basically, we just got a lot of literature tonight to be able to go home and look to be able to better prepare for disaster if it happens.
I think honestly, I would have not thought about any of this had I not come here tonight. Like I wouldn't be thinking about it, so now I'm thinking about it and feeling activated to think more about it and maybe do some research. But yeah, I wouldn't have had these questions had I not come. Honestly, I wouldn't be thinking about my cat even in the disaster had it not been for tonight. So in that way, it's useful, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I hope that people who participate in the fair will feel motivated to do something on their own to help prepare for their families, for their survival and comfort after a large event. We have to do something. We're used to, in community, relying on one another, but we can't rely on one another if just a very few of us have prepared.
I think it's our benefit to help the rest of the community be informed about earthquake preparedness as well. I know there are many wonderful, committed people doing that in the Pearl, but if the fair even gathers 3 or 4 more buildings like ours, individuals from those buildings interested in developing their community for preparedness, we will have been a great success.
again.